Welcome to our home, welcome to our community, welcome to our family, and welcome to a whacked-out group of rebels and mavericks who just want to have a good time playing in our spirituality. Did you all put the words on that paper? Did you all make your paper airplane? Here's what we're going to do. On the count of 3, and I need everyone to listen up. You know, we come together in community. We're about sharing our love, not just keeping what we got from our grandparents or our grandkids here, but sharing it with somebody else. So you wrote on that paper a gift that somebody else is going to pick up. And those of you in the balcony, you might want to figure out how we're going to get, because it would be really cool to throw those paper airplanes down, but then you won't have any coming back at you. You're going to throw one, and you're going to pick one up, and that is your gift on Grandparents' Day. As you throw your airplane, somebody else is going to throw one that's going to land near you. You're going to pick it up, and that's going to be your gift of the day. Everybody up on your feet. You see, wait a minute. I haven't said 3 yet. You're just so eager. Community is all about giving and all about receiving, and we do it all together. You ready? 1, 2, wait. 1, 2, 3. Throw it!
Oh, that's so cool! That's so cool!
Come, get them everywhere. Pick up a plane next to you that is not yours. Everybody should pick up a plane. Help somebody who doesn't have one already. Go ahead and have a seat. Share with your grandparents or your friends or your kids what the gift was that you got today. Share with them right now. On the count of 3, I want everybody to yell out what your gift was that you got. 1, 2, 3. And then everybody fell silent. Good luck with that one, huh? I need everyone to get really, really quiet, because I want to thank somebody very special. You know, when we talked about Grandparents' Day, there was a man in this community who brought it up. And he laughed, and he smiled, and he cried about the relationship that he has with his grandchildren, in particular his grandsons who come here to church. And it would not be fair not to give Bart Starr a chance to just talk a little bit about why that was important. And, you know, around this place, if you have an idea, we make it happen. We don't know what it's going to show up like, but we make it happen. And so I'd like you to invite, to welcome with your round of applause, the man that made this whole day happen, and that is Bart Starr and his 2 grandsons, to come up. Now this can be dangerous. Bart, the floor is yours.
I got it. Good morning.
Welcome to Unity North Church.
All right. We're going to give you a little introduction of what's going to happen today. And we're going to start with questions, back and forth, the old guy to the young guys. I'm going to start. Who's your favorite grandpa? Roger?
Roger.
It's not the answer I wanted. Who's your favorite grandpa?
Chet Patoli.
All right, well, okay. All right, we're going to flip it over. They're going to ask me some questions now.
What restaurants did you have when you were a kid?
Well, the only fast food restaurant we had golden arches on it. And today they call it McDonald's. We never had Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, or anything like that. We stayed home and had dinner with the family. Next question.
What was it like back then?
We had some lights. We used to walk to school, and everyone was safe.
Did you ever lock your doors?
No. We never had a key to our front door because everyone had neighbors, and we all watched each other, looked after each other. It was fun. Got another one? Another one? Okay, that's it. Now, as Richard said, this is going to be a loud, wild day, and he runs upstairs, I'm running downstairs. When we get downstairs after the service, there's going to be food, party, maybe some dancing, singing, and all you little guys, you get to ask your grandparents any question you want, and they have to answer it. All right, that's it. Enjoy the service, and we're done.
Thank you, Bart. I appreciate it very much. Downstairs, we got a minute to win it. I'm asking all the grandkids to get their grandma and grandpa to come down and do a minute to win it. A little competition, a little craziness downstairs. Have you ever seen that game? You're going to be rolling Oreos down your face. You're going to be stacking cups. You're going to be throwing ping pong balls everywhere. But there's something very important happening today, something very beautiful. And I think that all the kids could be quiet for just a few minutes to recognize how beautiful life is. How many people think that life is beautiful? And you know what? We get a chance to see how beautiful life is when we have a new life come into our family. And so I would like to ask Mandy, and I would like to ask Jeremy to come forward with the newest member, I believe, of our congregation and our family, and their grandparents to please come up. Everyone go, "Aww." When we were talking about a day to do this in the service, it felt like it was totally appropriate to do it on Grandparents' Day. That way Linda McGrew won't be mad at me. Today, we get to celebrate and to bless this beautiful expression of light and love known as Lillian Jane Clark. Lily is a testimony to the miracle of life and to the goodness of all creation, including each and every one of you. Lily is pointing each of us back to the place we came from, the place of love, the place of God. This child before us is perfect. Can you see that? She is absolutely perfect just as she is, with no need of fixing, no need of cleansing, because she's not broken. She's more connected to God, perhaps, than any of us. Let it be a remembrance today. So today is a blessing ceremony and a dedication ceremony. It is the blessing of God's gift to each and every one of us. And it is a dedication ceremony as this family and this family pledges to remind her throughout her entire life of who she truly is, as we remind ourselves. You see, our lives, all of our lives, this life is the legacy of those who have gone before us. Grandmothers, ancient grandfathers from many, many generations back. And Lily is the fulfillment of all the dreams, of all the aspirations of those grandparents and ancestors. Most importantly, Lily is the fulfillment of God's longing for the highest and best for this world. And so we're reminded of that when we put this scripture up. We're going to invite you as a family to offer this scripture that goes on the screen here as a blessing to this family. Together, you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for wonderful are your works. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret. Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book were written every one of them that were formed for me. And so, Mandy and Jeremy, you have truly been given a gift. And I know that you know this. This precious child is a gift not only for you, but she is a gift that has been entrusted into your care, that she may shine as brightly as God has intended for her to shine, that the world might be blessed by the presence of a child that knows who she is. That's an awesome responsibility. And so I'm going to ask that you publicly express your commitment by stating "we will" after each of my questions. Andy and Jeremy, do you promise to support Lily with all your love and all your care and all your heart through all the days of her life, even when you were disappointed or frustrated? You'll need that promise when she's 13. Do you promise to partner with her whole family, to encourage a relationship with the Spirit of God within her, and to remind her whenever she forgets? And do you promise to nurture her God-given talents, gifts, intellect, and creativity that she may shine as brightly as God has intended? Do you promise to remind Lily that the power of God as love is always available to her? And finally, do you promise to live a life that demonstrates your love and commitment to family, to God, to her, and to all of God's creation? And so, family, I ask the question of you, of this beautiful expression. Do you promise to live a life that demonstrates to this new member of your family your love, your commitment to God, and to all of God's creation? Lily, was that good enough? Do you make that solemn vow? As we celebrate Grandparents' Day today, do we have a microphone we can get up to them? They all panicked a little bit when I asked them. I think it is important. The role of grandparent is so, so important. I am the man I am today because of my grandparents. And so I asked each of the grandparents to just offer a word or two of blessing to their granddaughter.
Carolyn and I's blessing for Lily is a life full of God's abundant love and many, many fairy tale adventures.
And I want to wish my beautiful granddaughter, Lily, a happy and wonderful life. She's truly a gift.
And so we know that many of us here today, as with Lily, that there are grandparents that could not be here today for one reason or another. And we wanted to light a candle in memory of Kitty Gilbert, who could not be here, and other grandparents who could not be here today. We carry them in our heart. And as I light this candle, I'm going to invite you to hold in your heart a grandparent that could not be here for some reason today, and to know that the light of that person exists here. I asked Julie to share just a couple of words about those grandparents as I light the candle.
As we light this candle for Kitty, we call to mind our own grandparents who cannot be here today, whether by distance or because they've gone beyond the veil. And we know love is eternal and no amount of miles can change that. And they may not be with us on this earthly plane, but as you call it to mind right now, their love, they are here with us in this room and in our hearts.
And so within this bowl is water. Water is a symbol of purity, of wholeness, and of perfection. Along, as you guys make your way this way, along with the water in this bowl are rose petals that represent the love, the beauty, the strength, and the delicacy of the life that we hold in our hands and that you hold in your hands. And so I'm going to bless her on the top of her head. I'm going to bless her heart, her hands, her feet, and her whole being. And right now I'm going to invite you to begin that process by singing with me the prayer of St. Patrick for this entire family. Please stand and offer all the love that you have as we sing the prayer of St. Patrick. God before you, behind you. God behind you, to the left. To the left and the right. God above you. God above you. God below you. All around and inside. All around and inside. All around and inside. You got one more of those? Raise the energy. All around. All around and inside. And so, Lillian Jane Clark, I bless you in the name of the Holy Spirit that you are, in the name of the light of the world that you are. May you forever know that you are connected with the power and the presence of God. Lillian Jane Clark, I bless these hands, these beautiful, magnificent. You want to hold them? that they may reach out to remind, I think it's okay to eat roses, yes? That wherever you go, that you reach out in love to those who care about you, and you remind them as they remind you. Lillian Jane Clark, I bless these feet, that wherever you go, that you stand in power and in courage for who you are, and that you never forget, never let anybody push you around, that you remember the truth of your divine essence. Lillian Jane Clark, I bless your heart, because it is always your heart that will heal any wound. It is always your heart that will bless the world that you live in. And wherever you go on this earth, people will know who you are as they look into your eyes and they behold your heart. And then finally, the best part. Lillian Jane Clark, I bless you in the name of family. I bless you in the name of kindness. I bless you in the name of all that is good, of all that is holy, and all that is sacred. I'm going to try and hold her now. And I'm going to sing a song for this. Oh, it's okay, sweet. Okay. Oh, man, I'm going to cry now. I'm going to invite you to join me in this final blessing. This beautiful child of God, you are perfect, you are whole, you are complete, and you can let your true self show. I will sing this one time, and then I invite you as the family to sing with me. Child of God, you are so beautiful. Child of God, you can let your true self show. I know who you are, precious child of God. Child of God, you are loved. Together, family. Child of God, you are so beautiful. Child of God, you can let your true self show. I know who you are, precious child of God. Child of God, you are loved. That song we hold not only for this girl, but for her family. They're two amazing, beautiful people who have more love to give than this entire room. May you know that you have a support in this family, in this community, no matter what happens in your family. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the newest blessed gift to this earth and to this world, Lillian Jane Clark. All right, please have a seat. It's going to get a little more sentimental in here. And we'd like to have the kids come up. Julie's been working with some really little ones.
Yes, if the kids' choir can come up. Not all the kids yet, but everybody's going to get to sing later. But for the Unity North Kids Choir, come on up. We have a very special song, and my assistant, Yasmin, is going to help me. And this is going to be a song to all the grandmas and grandpas out there. And it is going to take a second to set up their mics. So, what will I say? I don't have a grandma joke. We can sing this song. They've been working really hard. We've been talking about grandmas and grandpas. And a lot of these are our little ones. Come on up. You gotta lower this. Okay. Get up to your mic. You little ones, come right up here. All right. Hold on. We have to see you. Yeah, you can stay. We have to see you. Okay. Watch this little one. He's like a little man in a little body. Okay. So, you guys are going to, nice and loud. This is your one chance to show Grandma and Grandpa how much you love them. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Take a bow. Take a bow. Good job. Good job. High five, high five, high five. Okay. Aren't they adorable? My job is in jeopardy, I think. Okay, go back with your families.
No, they're going to sit
Oh,
up
no,
here.
that's right, that's right,
Come
that's
have
right.
a seat.
Have a seat.
On Grandparents' Day, as in Mother's Day and Father's
Just
Day,
sit down.
sometimes it's a difficult time for a number of reasons we don't need to cover. But we have a program that we are instituting starting today. Out in the foyer, I have a sign-up sheet. I know that me being a grandfather to grandchildren that are not biologically mine has been one of the greatest gifts. And so we're having an adopt a grandparent or an adopt a grandchild program here at Unity North. And I'm going to ask you that if you are willing to serve as a grandparent to a child who does not have a grandparent nearby, please go out there and put your name on that list and say, I'm ready to serve that child. And if there is a child here who would like to help a grandfather or a grandmother or somebody who has no family at all, I'm going to invite you as parents to take your children out there and say, I'm willing to adopt a grandfather. I'm willing to adopt a grandmother. And the energy of those two coming together will create family where perhaps family didn't exist. But right now, I am so delighted that we have another special treat from the grandmothers, representing the grandmothers. Julie, you want to tell us about it?
Yes, this is a really, really special treat. This is Kay Cobb, and she is one of my moms. I have 3 moms in the audience. Linda will get mad if I don't recognize my second mom. You're my third mom, sorry. And she is also the mom of Carla, one of the unitones, and her 2 granddaughters, Sage and Karma. So we have 3 generations that are singing here at Unity North today, which is very, very special. So please welcome Kay Cobb. Thank you.
If you know the words to this song, grandparents, join on in.
Love that's true, always. When the things you plan need a helping hand, I will understand always.
the grandkids, anybody who's comfortable coming up, you got a natural ham and you come on up. We're going to have a little story here. I'd like all the grandkids in the place of all ages, if you want, come on up. Come up and have a seat. Come on. Hey, Zoe, come on up. I need you all to turn around and face me. Come on, don't be shy. Quinn, come on up. I'm going to need your help in a minute. Come on, everybody. You know what we just said about the little baby that we blessed, Lily? It's true about you too. Yep, sometimes we forget. Sometimes Julie forgets. Sometimes we all forget. Does anybody else forget besides me? Or am I the only one? I wanted to remind you. Well, I want to tell you a story. I want to share a story about what kind of happens when we forget and what can happen when somebody, like a grandparent or a grandchild, reminds us. And so, this is called the old violin. It was battered, and it was scarred. And the auctioneer thought it was hardly worth his while to waste any time on this old beat-up violin, but he held it up with a smile. "What am I bid, good people?" he cried. "Who'll start the bidding for me? $1? Give me $1? Who'll make it $2? $2? Who'll make it $3? I got a bid for $3 right there." But then from the back of the room, a gray-haired old man, he came forward and he picked up the bow. And then wiping the dust from that old violin and tightening up the strings, he played out a melody so pure and sweet, sweeter than the angels sing. The music stopped, and the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, now, what am I bid for this old violin?" And he held it up with the bow. "1? Give me 1,000? Who'll make it 2? 2,000? Who'll make it 3? 3,000 once, 3,000 twice, going and gone," said he. The people all cheered, but some of them cried. We just don't understand. We don't understand. What changed its worth? Swift came the reply. It was the touch of the master's hand. You know, there's many a person whose life is out of tune, battered and bruised from within, who is auctioned cheap to a thoughtless crowd, much like that old violin. A pain, a loss, a game, and a tear, and that person travels on. They're going once, they're going twice, they're going, and they're almost gone. But then the master comes, and that foolish crowd never quite understands the worth of a child and the change that is brought by the touch of the master's hand. Who can tell me who the master is? Does anybody know what the master is? Take a guess. God? God is the master. Where does God live? Up there or here? Within us. That touch is there all the time. Well, we can't see God, right? We can't hear God, or can we? We listen closely enough. How does God show up in your life? Anybody? How does God show up in your life? That's okay. Through love? Through love. Good answer. How about for you? Through your feelings? Good. How about for you? Through praying. That's a great way to feel the love. And sometimes God uses people. You know that? That God uses angels with skin on. Angels have skin on, and sometimes they're called grandma. Have you ever had a grandma that just wrapped her arms around you? That was God speaking to you. And sometimes it's a grandpa. He just gives you a pat on the back and he reminds you who you are. Sometimes the master's hand is a grandpa. You know what? Sometimes the master's hand looks like your hands. Look at your hands for a minute. Take a moment to look at your hands. You don't have those hands by accident. There's somebody in your life that might feel lonely or sad. It might be somebody who's older than you, really older than you, that needs to have your hand on their back, that needs to have your arms wrapped around them. And let me tell you, as a grandpa, sometimes the best medicine in the world is when somebody your age comes and wraps their arms around them, and it's more powerful than anything the minister can say in church. It's the most powerful thing on the planet. The most powerful force in the way God expressed. What's that word called? Love. Say it really loud. Can you pass me that heart back there? There's a heart right back there. Can you pass that? I'm going to ask my granddaughter to come up, and I'm going to ask her to help me. This heart represents God's love. Can you all see it? Quinn, come on up. I'm going to move over here. I want you to take a part of that. We're connected by love. Everything we do as human beings is we're connected by love. But we have to hold our part. If we let go, what happens if I let go of my part of the love? God's love falls down. It doesn't reach her. Now, if I want to get love to Quinn, I have to make sure I'm playing my part and tightening up the strings like an old violin. I have to keep them tight. And guess what? God's love can get to Quinn. But sometimes Quinn's love and God's love needs to get to me through her. And sometimes as an adult, as a grandparent, I have to make myself a little smaller. And she has to hold her part up and remember that we belong to each other. And when we work together, when the two of us work together, love comes, and love comes this way, and back and forth, and back and forth. Love reaches everybody. Grandparents, grandkids, even parents. Even parents. So we're going to do something right now. We're going to create a web of love in this sanctuary. I need you all to go back in, and we're going to throw a ball of yarn from one side of this room clear to the other, and we're going to see if we can get God's love to everybody in this room. You think we can do it? Go quick, find your seat. We're going to get a ball of yarn, and we're going to start throwing it around. A little music, maestro. The touch of the Master's hand. So many people are waiting around for somebody else to be the touch of the Master's hand. Waiting for God's love to show up through somebody. We know here in Unity that we have to hold on to our part of the connection that connects us all. We can't let it go. We are important. So I'm going to wrap it around my hand to make sure that my love is steady. I'm going to throw this ball down the aisle. And when you get it, you hold on to your little piece of love, and then you throw it to somebody else. And we're going to see how much love we can throw around this sanctuary. Are you ready to do it? Are you ready to do it? Somebody pick up the love. Somebody pick it up. Throw it around. Hold on to your piece. Throw it to the back of the place. The back of the place needs to know it too. Keep it going. Faster, faster, faster. Throw it across the aisle. All right. So God's love, this is God's love. And it needs to get, watch out you don't choke Grandpa. It needs to get to everybody. And so while the love is being passed around, I'm going to send God's love to whoever is on the other end of this string. And we're going to see if we can get God's love to each and everybody. It's going to take some work. Here it goes. All the way down. Get that heart from one side of the sanctuary to the other. You're going to have to work really hard to do it. Keep it going. Keep it going. How fast can you share love with somebody you've never met before? How fast can we create a web of love that cannot be broken, that will not be broken? church and we feel like it's all love and it's all good. But love gets messy sometimes. Yes? Sometimes life happens. And when life happens, we have to hold on to our love. We can't let it go no matter what's happening. No matter how chaotic it gets, no matter how crazy it gets, we have to hold on as grandchildren and as grandparents on to the love that we are called to be. So on the count of 3, this ball represents life. And life's going to happen all around the sanctuary. Hold on to the love no matter what happens. Here it comes. Once you've got the mess, throw it around, get it to somebody else. Take a moment, hold on to the ball. Hold on to the ball. Who's got the ball of yarn? Where is it? Keep going with the ball of yarn. But on the count of 3, anybody who's got a piece of the love, I want you to give a little tug. I'm going to send a little tug down the line. Listen up. Let's hold the balls. This little tug is the touch of the master's hand. We tune up the strings. I'm going to ask Quinn to give a little tug to somebody who she's holding love for. Wherever you are, if you've got a piece of that yarn, give it a little tug. And let that person who's on the other end of it know that you are part of their family. You're a grandmother, a grandfather, you're a grandchild, but that you matter and you belong. You know what else? Listen up, listen up. When we're throwing all those balls around the room, we're sharing the mess. We're sharing the mess of being a human being. But we're sharing it. And we lean into each other, and that sharing is the touch of the Master's hand. We're going to let it get crazy for 30 seconds more, and then we're going to move on. You got 30 seconds more in you? You got a ball, a paper airplane, keep the yarn, keep the love strong. 1, 2, 3. I want you to cheer the other people. Make a little noise for all the people and share the love. Everybody get real quiet. Everybody get still. Hold on to the ball. On the count of 3, I want to see how quiet. We play this in my house, the quiet game. Who can be the quietest in the room? 1, 2, 3. The touch of the Master's hand is when we hold on to the love and that we agree to be quiet. And we agree to be still and to know that the music that is played in the strings that we hold, that we are, is the most powerful force on the planet. Let love on this Grandparents' Day weekend be the only energy that you hold. I'd like to invite the Uniteens up right now, and the Uniteens are going to offer a blessing. A blessing to all people gathered here. Hold on to the string. Don't let it go, because your part is important.
Call the Uniteens again.
The Uniteens?
Uniteens, up on front.
This is your moment to come up forward onto the stage.
Quickly, quickly. Fast, fast, fast.
Be careful you don't clothesline yourself on the way as you run up.
Go stand in the middle. You guys get this boy.
And so this is a blessing that they would like to offer every person in this room. Children of all ages. This has been a silly, fun, playful day. But you know, sometimes when it comes to church, we forget that love is more important. Fun is more important than anything that the minister can ever say. Let us be the touch of the Master's hand for each other and remind each other that each person in this room has value.
You're here for a reason, you certainly are. The world would be different without you by far. If not for your hands and your eyes and your feet, the world like a puzzle would be incomplete. Even the smallest of things that you do blossom and multiply far beyond you.
Thank goodness you're here, thank goodness times two. I just can't imagine a world without you.
A kindness, for instance, may triple for days, or set things in motion in different ways. You're here for a reason, it's totally true. You're part of a world that's counting on you. So don't be too worried if some days fall flat. Good things can happen, even from that. Life can be tricky, there isn't a doubt. You'll skin your knees trying to figure it out.
Thank goodness you're here, thank goodness times two. I just can't imagine a world without you.
But life works together, the good and the bad, the silly and awful, and happy and sad. To paint a big picture we can't always see, a picture that needs you most definitely. Remember, next time a day goes all wrong, to somebody else you will always be strong. And that ball you lose, or that kite you let go, could make someone's day, you just never know. You're here for a reason. If you think you're not, I'd say perhaps you just forgot. A piece of the world that is precious and dear would surely be missing if you weren't here. If not for your smile, your laugh, and your heart, this place we call home would be minus a part. Thank goodness you're here. Thank goodness times two. I just can't imagine a world without you.
Thank you.